I got scarred when you said APA.
APA. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am Beth, if you don't know, and I am here today with my roommate.
Hello, I'm Ellie.
Yes, and if you didn't know, we are both students at SCA, which is the School of Cinematic Arts at USC. I figured it would be good to have multiple perspectives about getting into SCA, and especially from different majors. And we thought we would share with you guys our journey of how we got into SCA in order to help you guys do the same thing. A quick background about us. So I was an external transfer from the University of Miami, and I am a cinema and media studies major, and I also have a minor in 3D animation.
For me, I'm a sophomore transfer. I transferred from a community college in Florida, and then from getting into USC, I then internally transferred to SCA.
So starting off with test scores, technically when I've looked at things, SCA doesn't really look at test scores that much, but I know the school in general does weigh that in, and you have to get approved by the school after you get approved by SCA. So even though it's not a huge factor, it still does play a part. Personally for me, I had a 4.0 GPA when I applied to transfer, and I didn't have to submit any test scores because I was coming in as a junior, so they didn't care about my ACT or SAT score.
And for me, coming in as a sophomore, and not applying directly to SCA in the school, USC itself, you did have to maintain like a good GPA. So I think I transferred into USC with like a 3.8, and with that you do all the normal test scores. But for applying to SCA, same thing. I don't remember submitting any test scores, and they don't really look at that. But it is definitely a good thing to have good numbers because it does make a difference.
Moving on to the personal statement, I'm pretty sure most majors in SCA have to make one. So for whatever you're applying for, it's pretty important, I think. It's probably one of the most important things. Okay, one of the tips I have for doing your personal statement is to think of like a story or maybe a couple of stories that really help define and show some of your key characteristics about yourself and really show that you're a person, and making sure especially that it's unique to you. It's not something really basic like, oh, like I won this sports game or something or like that. Like it's just really something that is like a core for your identity. One way I like to kind of think about it is little reference to Inside Out is like how Riley has like all these different islands and each one is powered by a key memory. You try to think of like yourself and like what are some of your key memories and maybe pick one or two of those to talk about. That's one way to look at it, at least for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I know I applied to SCA like my senior year of high school, and I remember writing my personal statement, and I had a tutor for that. Like he was helping me write my own personal statement, which was just like probably the worst idea because in the end it kind of was something I wasn't really passionate about or wasn't really true to me. So when I redid it and when I was looking back at it, I was like just kind of like amazed at how not me that was, and I kind of took what I learned since that point and kind of pinpointed something that really meant a lot to me and wrote about that without anyone looking at it or without anyone's approval. So I would say if like you have a tutor or anything, I honestly would try to come up with it yourself because that kind of killed me in that in my first try. So definitely to that point, key memory, something that's like means a lot to you and it pushes your identity out and kind of makes you, this is going to sound so cheesy but unique, because that's definitely what they're looking for.
Yeah, they want to read something that makes it feel like they're actually reading about a real person and not just like some nameless thing out there.
Absolutely.
So for cinema and media studies, you have to submit a writing supplement that basically is you analyzing or talking about some aspect of film or something that has to do with film. For me, I submitted a piece that I wrote when I was at Miami, and I actually interviewed this guy who was like a film historian. And I'm not saying you have to like go out and interview a film historian because not many people know them. But if you can think of something that's at least unique, maybe and like thinking of a different perspective of it, because I wrote about basically how film and history are connected and use the film historian to kind of back that up. If you have like some good academic references in it and kind of treat it like a full-fledged like college essay and like have the whole like MLA or APA, like we're excited and kind of think about all of that stuff, I'm guessing that's going to help you out a lot.
I only applied like last semester, and I got in for spring 2021. But from what I can remember, is the visual supplement. That was the biggest thing for me, making the film, writing the script, and kind of doing that whole thing. Because I will be honest, my weakness is probably narrative writing. So I guess my advice for that would definitely make something you enjoy making. Because the first time I applied, I tried narrative, and it made zero sense when I rewatched it, and it was really bad. So this time I actually went with like documentary, and I got to know a really good friend of mine, and I found a story within her that I thought was worth sharing, and I just became really honestly passionate about it, like through getting to know her and the whole process, and her story was just very unique. So I just went with that, and at that point I was like, this is fun making it. I'm just going to submit it, and hopefully it does something, and it did, so I'm very happy about that.
A lot of people put a ton of weight into the visual one, but like I've also heard that they just want to see like there's potential for you to learn and grow, and basically that you can tell a story and that you're creative, because they're there to teach you all the technical things to like actually make it good.
Yeah, to that point, it doesn't need to be like, HD, everything. Just use your phone.
Mirrorless. You can, literally your phone, like as long as you're creative about it.
And I think I've been told countless times that it's definitely about the story, because if you can't write a story or you can't tell one, then it's like kind of they're looking at it like, oh, why are we going to admit them anyway?
The additional writing supplements, I think it was the same for both of our major.
Okay.
It was something about like a time where you felt like really successful, and like one time you thought you were like a failure, like you failed at something.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Mine were not that good. I remember that when I was writing those, I was like, that was probably the weakest part of my application. If you talk about things that kind of helped you learn and grow, then that should probably be good.
Looking back at it, I didn't write anything that actually had to do with film. I think that's probably really useful too. Like, don't tailor everything in your writing and these supplements to film. I chose something like, I'm going into the Marine Corps, so I started writing about how I failed or didn't fail, how I failed or succeeded. So I used that as an example. So I would try to stray away from film and show all the different aspects of your life that you could incorporate and tie into that, just because at that point it's just like they want more depth in you. They don't want to hear about how you, successfully made a film in a day or whatever, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Unique.
Yeah, they want to see who you are as a full person and just who you are outside of film, because we're all unique. We all do a ton of things. They already know that you like film. That's why you're applying, so
Exactly.
Just make sure you write about things other than that is pretty key. I think I did the same thing too. I think it even said in it, don't write about film. So
I'm pretty sure it did.
Read the directions.
Yes.
That's also key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other final tips to conclude this?
Oh, okay. I guess like for those of you who watch this before you apply and maybe come back to it if you got in, one advice I would have if you're in, network. Like, meet as many people as you can.
Networking is key. Like, you're here. That's half of being at USC is the Trojan family. So
Exactly.
you got to make use of that.
Yes, absolutely. And like, I don't know, she might be like, a famous producer one day, and
Might be a famous cinematographer.
Exactly.
You never know.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone's here to grow and work at what they want to do, and you honestly really never know.
That reminds me, one thing I was told like a few days ago, someone mentioned this. They're like, all your classmates, like those are the people you're going to be working with once you graduate. So like, get to know everyone, like really make connections, like get to know people, because like those are going to be your future coworkers.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
I literally can't stress enough how different my personal statement was. Like, if I read the first one I made, I cringe at it just because it was so superficial of me and just not me. So, yeah, I can't say that enough. It's just seriously, like, write what you want to write. Don't let other people influence you. Don't let social, because that honestly influenced me too. I was like, my friends were writing about other stuff, and like, I was like, oh, I should be writing about this, and it was just a whole bunch of outside influences that didn't help at all.
Honestly, it might hurt you to like look at what other people wrote.
Yes.
Because then you start trying to make yours like take the same form as that, and everyone's story is different. So like no two pieces are gonna have like the same structure, story to be told, because it's your story.
Yes.
It's no one else's. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if it was helpful at all, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe. It's free. Just turn that button gray down there.
Easy.
Do it now. Easy peasy. And if you want to follow Ellie, you can do that. Her social medias are linked down below. And I will see you guys next Monday.